Welcome to Casual Mania and BKFC. My God, I didn't realize how entertaining this stuff could be. This is not the first bare knuckle card I've tuned into. I've tuned into a few before, and they've been pretty decent, but no one I've really cared too much about was fighting, apart from the GOAT Artem. And I tuned into this one today because of the co-main and the main event, especially former UFC legends competing. And it was just such an entertaining time. We'll start with the co-main event first. Eddie Alvarez versus Chad Mendes. Just what a banger of a matchup to have. Chad is like he's mini Hulk. He looked like an absolute Hulk in there. His traps were coming to the top of his head. And this was just a brawl. Bare knuckle is perfect for these dogs who've come from the UFC, like Alvarez. And potentially down the line, we could get a lot more mean matchups. Like I just think of the likes of Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier. If they're ever to hang it up in the UFC soon, bare knuckle just seems like the absolute place for them. Get rid of all the wrestling and just brawl in there. But let's get back to Eddie Alvarez and Chad Mendes. What a fight this was over 5 rounds. And it was just so back and forth the entire time. Such a close fight. Knockdowns from both sides, power shots, everything you could possibly want. Heart, determination. And in the end, Eddie Alvarez did get the split decision win. I really thought it could have gone either way. I thought it was so close. Would have liked to see a 6th round, but it's like the commentators were saying, there were no real losers here. Both these guys left it all out there and just gave one hell of a fight. And it will be interesting to see where Eddie Alvarez goes from here, who will fight next, because Chad Mendes, he retired, he said this would be his last fight, which I think is kind of disappointing because he's looked really good in bare knuckle so far. He had that knockout in the first fight and then just looked incredible throughout this fight, despite losing, but it was such a close fight. And I think he could have a lot more to offer, but maybe he's just not interested in fighting anymore. So that's up to him, but he's retired. And Conor at ringside, Conor McGregor was at this event. And it's insane that out of everything, bare knuckle had Conor just at ringside shouting instructions like he's still in the Ultimate Fighter at both his boys. And it was just so entertaining to watch. And then the main event, Mike Perry versus Luke Rockhold. It's almost just like a complete meme that any of this stuff ends up happening. But Mike Perry, I thought I could have just seen him knocking out Luke in the first round, to be honest. I kind of expected that to be happening. But the first round was pretty back and forth for a lot of it. Mike was landing a lot of power shots to the head and to the body. Luke Rockhold was utilising his reach, hitting him with the jab over and over. Perry just kept coming forward and forward. Second round, Perry hits Rockhold with a big shot. And then Rockhold, it just looks like he quits. He goes to pull his mouth guard out, doesn't want to fight anymore. And first I'm just like, oh, yeah, here we go, classic Rockhold. Like, he talks a big game all the time, and then he always has excuses for why he loses. So I was just pretty disappointed in the result, to be honest. But then afterwards it came out that his teeth were like shattered in his mouth. So I don't know if I'm really one to criticise that decision. Pretty brutal, just like everything bare knuckle. It's just brutality, just bleed. And then Mike Perry calls out Conor McGregor afterwards. It's like, what kind of alternate reality are we living in? Conor gets in the cage with the bare knuckle belt on. Doesn't even have to compete. He's such a big deal that he can just walk into bare knuckle and be the champion instantaneously. And like, I reckon bare knuckle would be perfect for Conor. Like, he could just run this whole promotion, be the biggest star of it. Like, his style is so suited for it, I reckon, and just get rid of all, like, if he doesn't want to be doing the grappling and shit anyway, just get rid of that. So I think this would be so sick to see Conor in, but I don't know how seriously he'd be thinking about doing it, because like, would they even be able to afford him? Probably not. So don't know if that will ever end up happening. I'd say most likely not. But then Mike Perry also called out Donald Cerrone, which I think could be a good matchup as well for bare knuckle. Like, even though Donald, retired fighter, been beaten up quite a lot in his past few fights, they've got a storyline there. He's beat Mike Perry already, and then they can dish it out. And like, Cerrone, he's juiced to the absolute max at the moment, so why not? Just get back in there, throw down. And I'm just so excited about this bare knuckle shit, honestly. The fights, they just fully live up to what you want. Even the main event, like, for as long as it lasted, it was really entertaining. And it just brawls. Like, it's just so exciting to watch. So much damage is inflicted, but hey, if that's what you're into, you'll love it even more. So I could really see this being, like, I don't know about a rival competitor to the UFC, but at least the second best thing, because Bellator, PFL, the likes of those, been trying for so long. But if we're being honest, I reckon this is it. It's just, I was so entertained by today's card, I can't even believe it. And, I mean, who knows if that entertainment will manage to be sustained in future events. I hope they get more big names and more big fights. And this ends up doing really well because it is entertaining as fuck. And Connor was there. Like, the fact Connor was there, I just still can't even get over it. But yeah, that was the bare knuckle today. It was just such a great time. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, just if you're considering checking it out, I would highly recommend it if you're a fan of fighting.